evening. We are going to open the hearing. I'm Lisa Berkman. I'm this year's chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals. You know Mike Pazik. This is Gary Brackett, the town council, and at the end is Fran Spellacy. And our administrative assistant is Miss Wilma Davis. The order of the procedure tonight, which is classical for hearings, is the applicant will present.
Could you speak up? We have competing sound.
You want to scoot your chairs up?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
This is far more on team. The order of the procedural order is that the applicant will make a presentation explaining what adjustments they are seeking from the zoning. Then the board will ask the applicant any questions it has regarding the application. And then the meeting is open to the community members who may talk in support of the project, express concerns about the project, and when they address concerns or admiration for the project, they are to address the board and not directly approach the applicant. When all of the discussion is finished, we will close the hearing to the public, and then we will decide if we will make the decision tonight or need to gather more information, and then reconvene another time to make our decision. And so who will speak for the center school this evening?
I will.
And you are?
Tom Reedy, attorney with Bacon Wilson out of Amherst.
The mic is yours.
Thank you very much. Would you like me to stand, sit? How would you like me to proceed?
You want to just switch your chairs a little bit?
Sure, and I'll pull this to the
This is
side
not,
so that everybody can see. So good evening.
and we will need the microphone.
Of course.
Because you will be on YouTube
Oh,
tomorrow.
fantastic. I'll pull this here. So good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm Tom Reedy. I'm an attorney with Bacon Wilson out of Amherst, here on behalf of Center School LLC, Barry Roberts, and Don Southwick. We're dealing with the property 58 Main Street, right across the street, Town Center zoning district. As most of you likely recall, there was a request for proposals for a proposal for the redevelopment of the center school after a town meeting vote, seeking redevelopment for congregate elderly housing, which essentially is over 55 housing. Barry and Don were the successful proponents. Their bid was accepted. We are working through, we've got a signed purchase and sale agreement with the town. We have submitted this petition for a variance that I'll get into in a little bit more detail for variance from strict enforcement of the maximum lot coverage in this zoning district. And we're also in front of the planning board at the beginning of March for their special permit, because this use requires a special permit from the planning board. So a high-level view, this is the proposed elevation of what, at the end of this all, the center school would look like. Though not necessarily germane to this discussion, I think it's important to see the quality and the resemblance to the existing structure that this will have. The only really exterior modifications are going to be sprucing it up. If they can keep the slate roof, they'll likely keep it, repointing some of the masonry, redoing some of the windows, etc. So what you're going to see is going to be very similar to what we're showing here in this rendering. Germane for the board this evening is lot coverage. And so you may recall in 2007 there was a variance issued for this property. In the variance, there were several variances issued, to be even more specific, relative to the height of the building, relative to the front yard setback, and relative to the number of stories. Those all dealt with the structure as it existed. There was also a variance which sought, under what the then proposal was for a multifamily development under 1.13 of your zoning bylaw, which is distinguishable from what we've got here under 1.23, which is congregate housing for the elderly. They were, at that time, seeking a variance from the 15% maximum lot coverage for the 6 dwelling units. All of those variances were granted. To put a finer point on it, the 15%, it was found by the zoning board that the coverage only dealt with building and not entire lot. We've taken a look at the zoning bylaw and have seen that the dimensional regulations deal with maximum lot coverage. So we're of the opinion that deals with building, but also the other impervious areas on the site. This site will be 31,496 square feet once conveyed from the town. The building itself, the footprint is a little over 7,000 square feet, so we're already at about 23%. In this zoning district, 25% maximum lot coverage is allowed. For multifamily dwellings, which we've talked about, this isn't because we're dealing with congregate elderly housing, that maximum is 15%. So this is a little bit different, a little bit higher, but the conditions currently on the site already exceed that maximum lot coverage. And so I think you're all familiar with the site, that the topography drops off into the playing fields. And so we've got some conditions here specifically affecting this site as a result of the topography, where to actually mandate that we have 25% would cause financial hardship. We wouldn't be able to provide parking. We would have to rip up the pavement. We wouldn't be able to provide the necessary emergency access around the building that would be necessary for emergency services. So to require that we actually comply would be detrimental to this project. And we believe that given that we already currently exceed the maximum lot coverage, that you can, without derogating from the public intent or purpose of the bylaw to protect the public health, safety, and welfare of the inhabitants of the town of Hatfield, and without detriment to the public good, that you can grant this variance to allow us to essentially do what you see here. And most of this already exists. There will be some walkways and some additional parking, but this really is the proposal that we're proposing. It's for 8 condominium dwelling units, and that's more germane for the planning board, but I think it's important to realize that's all we're proposing on this site is 8 condominium dwelling units to be restricted to over 55. I'm happy to touch on anything else you'd like to or answer any questions that you have.
On your plan, I'm looking at a dashed over on the, not on the building, but over here on your site plan.
Here? Okay.
Yeah. I'm looking at a dashed line there by the backstop. Mm-hmm. So that's part of the 31,000 square feet.
I don't believe so. I don't believe that entire dash is part of the 31,000 square feet.
Yeah,
Because this, I don't think it would be, because it goes onto public ways and onto abutting properties. So
Okay.
I don't believe that is part of it. I think you'll see that this iron pin,
That pin,
this
okay.
iron- just that is what we were looking at. I think this is for, if this was the inset, this is
Okay,
the bigger
that's
area
fine.
of that.
And the 4 pins that you just pointed out, that's been surveyed?
I would believe so. Yes.
Okay.
And there will have to be an A&R, approval not required plan from the planning board to allow this subdivision of land.
Yeah, I know that there was a point where it was, some of those lines, that area was set arbitrarily. And I'm just wondering, how stable that is. So I wondered if the surveyors had come in and surveyed it, and there's actually set pins out there.
I would assume there are, I mean, we're bound by that town meeting vote
Yeah.
to only convey the 31,496 square feet, so without speaking for the surveyors, I guess that
Okay.
they are set and that's where they are.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Fran, you have any questions?
No. I'm all set.
I don't either. Who would like to speak up, perhaps in favor of the project? And you are?
Christopher Smith.
Christopher Smith, of your great letter.
Oh, good. Has everybody got a copy of it?
The members of the board, we all have.
Yeah.
I'm all set, I have it.
Thank you.
Chris, got another one? Do you have another one?
I do.
If you would,
And,
would you go to the microphone, please?
sure.
So you can be on YouTube too?
I represent,
Behind the microphone, please.
oh, all right, this one's not working? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right. Hi, Christopher Smith with the Hatfield Redevelopment Authority. Our chair couldn't be with us this evening, he's ill, so our letter, as you've received, speaks in favor of the project as we have right along. We feel it's a perfect fit for this part of town. It saves a beautiful historic building. It maintains an historic icon of the town. And we are truly blessed to have Mr. Roberts and Mr. Southwick take on this project and do the kind of work that we've seen them do in numerous other communities. This is far from their first rodeo. They've done the Sullivan School, they've done buildings in Long Meadow, they did the Amherst Cinema building, other buildings in Amherst. Like I say, we're very lucky to have these folks come into Hatfield and look forward to the project being completed.
Okay. Does anyone else want to speak to the project or have questions about it?
Paul Dostal, Main Street. I'm in favor of this project. The town has torn down two historic buildings, Smith Academy and the old Milkman School. This would be, it's a historic building. We have a beautiful, beautiful Main Street, and I think I can speak for a lot of the townspeople because we did vote overwhelming to save the school, to not have it torn down. And I would like the zoning board to approve this variance tonight, and I think the town would be very, very beneficial from this project. Thank you.
And you are?
David Major.
David Major.
I just have some questions. I'm also from Main Street, and the project seems really exciting and fun. I'm just wondering, maybe to speak to the council, what is the legal basis where federal law prohibits discrimination based on age and gender preference and race and ethnicity that allows you to only let people 55 and over live there?
As far as I know, that headed through the courts in the late 60s, early 70s, and it's been tested time and time again. It really generated out of Florida. They were the first ones that did age discrimination. And it's gone through the courts again and again, and it's changing still. You have any concerns? Or just philosophically, how did they get around to this?
I was just interested in how you can keep families out of there.
I think it became a social and cultural need, and then it became instituted in law.
Okay. And then I have a question on the development.
Madam Chairman, if I may just add to that, one thing you should know is whenever the town adopts a zoning bylaw or amends a zoning bylaw, that after adoption by town meeting, it's referred to the Attorney General's office for review to ensure that it's constitutional and it doesn't conflict with the general laws of Massachusetts.
And
So
they
these
did that.
bylaws have been reviewed,
Okay.
approved by the Mass Attorney General's office, and the public purpose of serving an over 55 community, as opposed to families at large, has been accepted by the Attorney General's office as a
Right.
valid zoning purpose.
Right. And then one other, like, technical question, I guess. The height between the floor and the windowsill is beyond the building code regulations. Are they putting in a floating floor, or
I have
did they
no-
get a variance for that, or?
That is not under our purview tonight. It's the amount of space the building is taking up on the lot.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And you are?
Deborah Major.
Did you come with him?
I did. We walked over. Also a resident on Main Street. I'm wondering, actually came by and saw the plans yesterday. So there's an exterior view that shows some sort of a balcony on 8 units. And I'm wondering why it's not shown here.
So we've got the plan showing it, but we thought that for this, we're talking about lot coverage, and so what's on the ground itself. We do have, I think it's this,
In the back of that one.
if you want to.
Right, yeah. So where are the dimensions of how far that comes off of the building?
They're about 4 feet
4 feet out.
out.
Okay, cool. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. So living on Main Street for 17 years, I've seen a lot of car traffic for the field hockey games. And so I'm wondering, where will those people park if they're not parking in the lot as they have for many years?
That I do not know, and it's not part of our reference work here tonight. But there's the town park, the town hall parking, there's Main Street parking. It's all daytime. There are no night lights on that field hockey playing field.
So people will walk over and be guided to not be parking in private property.
That will probably be a slight cultural change that will happen if
Well, we're looking forward to having this building and its residents as our neighbors.
Thank you. Any other comments? Any other comments you'd like to make, Fran?
I'm all set.
Mike?
No, I'm good.
May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing.
I
Fran?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I need a motion now to open the discussion hearing.
Motion to open the discussion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are open to talk. You are not. Okay. Mike, you want to lead the way? Open your mouth.
Sure. Well, it appears that we have a project where we're looking at lot coverage, so they need relief through a variance for the 25 to mitigate the 25% coverage rule within the current zoning bylaw. Everything appears that the project will be very positive for the community. And we have quality developers, and I assume that there's interested in at least 8 parties that want to purchase and live in that building. So I think we should move forward on the granting of the variance.
Fran?
I'm all set. I agree.
Okay. And I throw my hat into this positive ring. May I have a vote to grant the variance to the Center Street LLC?
Madam Chairman, before you accept that motion, if I could just ask if we can just go through the 4 criteria for the grant of the variance, so we can have
Oh.
the board voting on findings of each of the 4 criteria.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if I may, maybe just for the ease of process, I'll propose a form of a motion. If it's acceptable, then one of you could say so moved. Second, you could adopt for each of the 4.
That's fine.
So the first would be that you find that there are special conditions affecting this lot, but not the zoning district in general.
We agree.
So if you have a motion and a second, then adopt that finding.
Okay.
Maybe, Michael, if you want to move the motion, and
Yes.
Fran can second.
A motion on,
That it affects this lot.
yeah, that it affects this lot. I'm sorry.
Sure, that there are special...
Give me your,
That's fine. I'll give it so that if Wilma has this for the...
Yes.
There are special conditions affecting this lot, but not the zoning district in general.
right, so the motion would be the condition of the lot, special conditions would apply to this lot, but not the zoning district in general. That would be my motion.
I second it.
I vote yes.
Okay, so,
So that's for finding as number 1. The second motion would be that enforcement of the bylaw would constitute hardship, substantial, financial or otherwise.
Yep.
To the applicant. So we just need so moved and.
so moved.
Second.
And a vote.
That's a vote.
That's a vote.
Aye.
Third, that there'll be no detriment to the public good from the grant of the variance relief.
There will be no detriment to the public.
Yep, so moved.
Second.
Agreed.
And the last of the 4 criteria, there's no derogation from the intent or the purpose of the Hatfield zoning bylaw.
So moved.
Second.
So moved.
So with those findings, Madam Chairman, you can now accept a motion to grant the variance as requested, and within the application materials,
Okay. Where is that?
the application is for the grant of a dimensional variance from Section 4.3 of the zoning bylaw governing maximum lot coverage.
Yes. You want me to repeat that?
No, you can just have it, once again, so moved.
So moved.
So moved.
Okay.
So we have a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We need a second. I heard it was moved.
Seconded.
Second by Mr.
Second them
Spilsey.
all.
Yep. You want to call the vote?
Fran?
I vote yes.
I vote yes.
I vote yes.
Right.
So the
Nothing.
the variance is granted.
Thank you very much.
And good luck and happy building.
Just get going working.
The